Hello, hello, everyone.
Well, hello there.
Welcome back. Hope everybody had a really great Thanksgiving. I know I did. Kate, did you have a good one?
Absolutely. We missed you guys for sure. It's always so, even though we were on video for you guys, it's always weird to miss a week. You feel
Yeah.
like something's missing. But yeah, great Thanksgiving. I have it at the house here, so it's still a little probably messy in the background. I gotta clean everything up. All the pumpkins are pretty much all down. I'm transferring into Christmas mode, obviously, because it is December 1st. Holy shit, where is this year?
Crazy.
Where did 2021 go? Because I don't know. So we're literally weeks away from 2022. But yeah, good Thanksgiving.
First show of December, as you said, December 1st, and it is episode 183 of the Real Football Fans of New Jersey. We are going to give you the best in the world of housewives and football. And like you said, where is 2021 going? Where is this NFL football season going? We're heading into week 13. We've got a Real Housewives franchise, got a new season premiere tonight. So just things are moving full steam ahead.
Mm-hmm. And I know that it's the Orange County premiere tonight, but I saw today the preview for Real Housewives of Miami, but that is only on Peacock, which
right.
That's why we're probably not going to talk about it, people, because we can't.
Yeah. Yeah, so a lot going on. We did ask you guys on all of our social media platforms to send us your questions. We got so many. So Caitlin and I are going to do our best hosting job of answering them in a rapid fire fashion. But yeah, we got a lot of good ones. Let's start with our first question here. It is football related. Who is the harder team this season to get a read on, the Chargers or the Colts?
Yeah, this is an interesting one. And where I think of it is that the Chargers were coming into this season as a favorite team. You have Justin Herbert and you're coming off
the favorite underdog team, the favorite dark team.
That's who they were. So I was expecting so much of them as opposed to the Colts. I was expecting a decent amount. I thought they were on the rise, but not as much. So for me, from looking at it in that aspect, I think that the Chargers are actually the hardest team out of these two to get a grip on and to really understand, because I don't understand them right now.
Yeah. You know what the massive difference between these two teams are? And I'm pretty positive both of them have 6 wins. So of course they have their similarities, right? But the biggest difference is I feel as though the Chargers are trending down and the Colts are trending up.
Right.
So the Colts had a really rough start to their season. I'm kind of catching a glimpse of it right now because I'm watching the new Hard Knocks in season.
Keep forgetting about that. I need to tune in.
They've got the Colts, and it's very fascinating to watch it in the middle of the season. But of course, they kind of recap what happened at the beginning of the season. And it started off real rough in Indy, and now they're starting to pick up speed, whereas the Chargers started real hot, and all of a sudden they've become really weird. So I think my answer for this question is based off of who's the hard team to read right now as we are in the season heading into week 13. And I think it's the Chargers because they are the one trending down. What happened? You guys were awesome, and I still believe you can be awesome, but we're going through a little bit of a funk right now.
For them, I just didn't before these past couple of weeks, I wasn't taking it week by week with them. I just always assumed they were going to come out strong. And now it is really going. It's week after week. Who's their opponent this week? What actually happened to them last week? Yeah. And a lot of shit is happening to them every single game. So definitely a question mark there.
Yeah. Okay, number 2. With the remaining schedule for the New York Giants, what is the most winnable game they have left? And I got to say, for a team that's technically still in the hunt for a playoff spot, this is a pretty favorable schedule going down the stretch. They've got, just so you guys all know, they have the Miami Dolphins, Los Angeles Chargers, Dallas Cowboys, Philadelphia Eagles, Chicago Bears, and the Washington football team. Kate, what is the most winnable game left on the schedule?
I really thought it was going to be this weekend against Miami. But, obviously some things are getting in our way there. I'm going to go with Washington at the end of the season as a comeback win there. We clearly lost to them in the last seconds of that game earlier in the season. The Giants should have won that. We obviously, had a bad showing against Dallas, but a lot of injuries happened that game. But listen, we came out strong against Philly last weekend, and it was a huge, huge win for us. So I'm gonna go with Washington because I think it's a revenge game for the Giants, and I think they can wrap it up and seal the deal.
All right. I'm going to go outside of the division, and I'm going to go with the Chicago Bears. And I agree, Kate, it could have been Miami, but circumstances of who's going to be playing quarterback this weekend obviously is a huge factor. And I almost went with Philly just because it is a team that we have already played and beat. You know what I mean? So we've lost to Dallas. We've lost to Washington. We beat Philly. I almost wanted to say Philly, but, I'm going to go with Chicago. I'm not really a believer in what they've got going on. I haven't really paid too much attention as to the severity of Justin Fields' injury or how long Andy Dalton's going to be playing for. But if it's Andy Dalton, I like our chances there. I'm going with Chicago.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think the double Philly win gets me a little nervous, though, just with
it's hard
our
to
division.
do.
It is very hard to do.
Yeah. Okay. Number 3, who is the best team right now in the NFC? I feel like this changes literally on a week-to-week basis.
It does, but as on a week-to-week basis, I see a lot of teams actually going more on the downward spiral. The only team right now that's really kind of up is the Green Bay Packers. So I think on our show 2 weeks ago, I was the one saying, you know what? I don't know where I see the Packers at the end of the season, but after 2 more weeks of NFL football, they're showing us that, I think they're the leader of the pack in the NFC. And I still need to look at every other team and understand who's going to show them some competition come playoff time.
Great teams in the NFC. And, a couple of weeks ago when Caitlin and I were in AC and we were asked our front runners, we were not talking about the Green Bay Packers, but some of the teams we were talking about have had some head scratching losses with the Rams and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And yes, Green Bay is the only one without these really sketchy losses. So I think right now, as we stand in the season right now, it's got to be Green Bay.
Yep.
All right, number 4, how underrated is the New York Giants defense?
This is such a funny question because verbatim, I texted Katie during the game and I feel like one day I'm going to screen grab our entire conversation during one of our, because they're quite comical, our conversations, because we do text from start to finish of every single game.
Yeah.
And one of the texts I had sent her, our defense the defense won the game for us on Sunday. And I absolutely loved it. And it was great. The one text I sent to Katie, and it was literally you know what? I'm so happy right now, but this fucking defense they just flip-flop week after week, and it pisses me off. So I think they are underrated. They're underrated because they're shooting themselves in their own damn foot because they are flip-flopping week after week. If they came out and played the talent that they have, they are talented. They are a very talented defense. There would be no underrated. There would be no overrated because I don't think they're overrated either. They're a good defense. They finished the league last year as being a top team defense. They came into, this season as that, and they've had some games where they've shined, and unfortunately they've had some games that they've royally sucked. So listen, if the only reason why you're underrated is because of yourself. So
I think I could echo everything you're saying, so I'll just keep it short and agree with you. And I would say, as far as on the lines of being underrated, let's look at it a fantasy standpoint. If nobody in your league has them, and there's 4 teams that are on the bye this week, I would look into the New York Giants because they get takeaways.
I've had them for 2
get interceptions. Yeah. They've been a little bit quiet on sacks this year, but it's a good defense. So I think if you need to pick somebody up in fantasy perhaps this week, I would look at the New York Giants.
I agree.
Okay. Next one. Do the Detroit Lions finally get a win this week? They're playing the Minnesota Vikings. It is a division game. We always say anything can happen in division games. You have to stick around and get our answer. We're going to give you our picks in a little bit. So
no spoilers here. No spoilers.
Well, no spoilers. You're going to have to hang with us. All right, next one. I love this one. When can I expect Saquon Barkley to get me more than 10 fantasy football points in a week?
Never. Is the actual real answer. Listen, I would, if Booker is available, I would take him. He'll get you 10 points.
I mean, I wouldn't take either, but Devin Booker is basically putting up probably the same stats that in fantasy that Saquon is. This is why, and I did it this year and I do it every year, but I scream from the mountaintops for everybody when I'm trying to give fantasy advice, don't take Saquon Barkley. Like it's just, people are still holding on from his rookie season.
Yeah.
Been in the league now for what? This is like his fourth year, fifth year. I don't know. I guess I'm shitty for not knowing off the top of my head, but like he hasn't done those numbers, and I get it, injury and everything like that, but like he's also proving that he hasn't been able to stay healthy. So it's
it's a hard running back season. We're seeing a ton of injuries with running backs.
Yes.
So my actually recommendation, what I've been doing, and it's common. That's why it's, the flex position is called a flex position for a reason. I've been using my wide receivers in the flex a lot of this season. I would not rely on your running backs this season because they are injuries, and then the running backs that you're forced to play are not your standard or your really good one. So you got to look at it that way. Do not rely on guys like Saquon Barkley. You have people like me who are I was relying on Christian McCaffrey. Screwed. We'll get into that a little bit later. Like you gotta Katie and I relying on Aaron Jones. Like you really just have to look at your team and just evaluate things. And that's just not something you should be relying on right now.
It's going to be interesting next year to see where Saquon goes in people's fantasy drops. But what I hope is that people at the very least, stop drafting him in the first round.
Yeah, don't do that.
There's no it's not that value. It does not have that value.
There is.
All right. We got two more. Can the New York Giants beat the Miami Dolphins if Mike Glennon is indeed going to be starting for a injured Daniel Jones?
I mean, listen, we'll give you our actual answers to this of who will win the game on Sunday. It's a winnable game. I want that, I like Mike Glennon as a backup quarterback. He's already come in for us a little bit this season. Listen, he's no Colt McCoy. I wish we still had him, but I think the game is winnable with him at quarterback.
Yeah, I agree, because this was it sucks. I want Daniel always to play, but this was a game that 100% I felt was winnable. And honestly, yes, just because if we were playing another team and we knew Mike Glennon was going to be playing, we would be like, shit, there goes our chances. We still have a chance at this one. So
absolutely.
And last but not least, somebody threw this one in. As a white wine drinker, give me a red wine recommendation, Kate.
So I'm the white wine drinker. I am the white wine drinker.
Yes.
Katie is a red wine drinker.
Yes.
So for me, and we've definitely talked about this on the show before, when it comes to red, I actually like all reds pretty much, except for table wine. And that's too sweet for me. I can't do things like that. But I love a good red blend. My favorite red blend is a brand called Josh. They make all different types, and it's his Legacy. So it's called Josh Legacy. It's a red blend, and that's the name of it, Legacy. It is delicious. It's one of the best wines I've ever had. Putting it up red and white together. It is one of the best wines I've ever had. You can literally find it anywhere. Josh is anywhere. They make all different types. That is my favorite red blend. But yeah, when it comes to reds, I'll go red blend. So, but you're the red wine drinker. So what is your recommendation?
I wish I had gotten this question earlier to spend all day thinking about my response. But I think if you are a white wine drinker and you're not used to reds, I think an easy go-to and an easy okay, we're going to transition and try something. Kate, I know you and your sister like this one as well. I love the Apothic red blend.
Oh, it's very good. Yeah.
That's a cheap and easy one. And it's a good one. I like red blends. I'm a big fan of Pinot Noir. So my two favorite are red blends and Pinot Noir. There's another one, the Dreaming Tree. That's Dave Matthews' brand of wine. And I know he has a bunch of off. I think he has a Pinot Noir. I know that he has a really good red blend. That's another good one to try. But yeah, I was going to say Josh as well. So fun fact for Thanksgiving, I actually, for the first time tried Josh Prosecco, and I'm here to let you
how
guys
was
know
it?
that is very good as well.
So the Josh Chardonnay is, I don't like it. I think I don't, I'm
That's
like
what,
not a
well, I
fan.
mean, I don't drink Chardonnay, so I've never bought.
But I
Josh,
thought I would like it
but Josh,
because
like every kind of Josh I've ever tried has always been really good. So
yeah, the Chardonnay, I'm not a fan. I've had the rosé and I've had the Pinot Noir, I've had the Cab. I've had like all the
I
reds.
recommend the Prosecco. Definitely give it a try if you see it.
I'll definitely have to look into that. I had some Prosecco, or I know maybe it was Champs. I had some Champs on Monday for my birthday, so it was delish. So
We love our
mimosas, love it, love it, love it.
Oh, thank you guys for the questions. And obviously, we are still live, so you can still shoot them our way.
Yes, definitely. And I see a ton of people watching on Twitter. Thank you so much. We have some people watching on Facebook. I can see too. Thank you. Thank you. Unfortunately, if you're on Twitter, we can't really see your comments or things like that unless you're replying directly to the tweet. You can do that, but I can't see if you're commenting or watching on the live stream. So if you want to ask us questions, reply to the tweet or head over to YouTube. I put the YouTube link in the tweet, so you can go over there. So if you want to continue to ask us questions throughout the show, if you want to just make comments on the nonsense that we're spewing for the next hour, go ahead, head over to YouTube. Obviously, go over to Facebook too if you feel to do that. But let's keep things moving. Big things in college football this past week, and not about wins, not about players. We're talking about head coaches, people. So some big things happening here. On Sunday, it was announced that Oklahoma University head coach Lincoln Riley will be jumping from the Big 12 to the Pac-12. He is leaving Oklahoma after 5 years to become the head coach at USC. USC has a record of 4-7 so far this year, and their previous head coach was fired after the 1-1 start. So during Lincoln Riley's time at Oklahoma, he had led the team to 3 Big 12 titles and 4 bowl appearances. So big move here. Lincoln Riley was one of the biggest names on the head coaching slate for the NFL about 2 years ago. I know he was a name that floated around for the Giants. So before we got Joe Judge. So that year, there was a lot of, I do remember that year, there was a lot of movement, a lot of new coaches coming in. His name was constantly spewed off. So at that time, clearly he wanted to stay in Oklahoma, but now it is time for him to move and make the move to USC. So
USC football, like Kate, I feel like it was like when you and I were
like
in grade school and junior high, like they were the powerhouse football team. And it has been a long time since USC has been at that kind of level. And this is big for USC. This is a huge loss for Oklahoma. It's going to be very interesting to see where they go from here. Obviously a team that has had tremendous success, like during Lincoln Riley's time. Coached a lot of great quarterbacks that are now starting NFL quarterbacks. And it's going to be interesting. Like he's definitely giving himself a challenge by going to USC and taking a losing team and seeing if he can restore them to the glory that they once had, probably a decade or so ago. So very interesting move, very surprising.
Yeah, and I guess some can say too that maybe Oklahoma is starting to make that little bit of a turn where it's not completely plummeting downhill, but they could, those 3, excuse me, the bowl appearances and the Big 12 titles, that they weren't happening, yesterday. So I think maybe some could argue that, that Oklahoma might be making that turn, and that's why he wants to go too. So up for the challenge, of course. So yesterday, I was not expecting this one, but Notre Dame head coach Brian Kelly is leaving to become the next head coach at LSU. As you know, Coach O is no longer there. They did already announce that he will be parting ways after the season. So he is going to receive a 10-year, $95 million contract. So Brian Kelly was at Notre Dame for 12 seasons. I honestly forgot it was that long. I know he was there for a long time, but I just did not realize it was 12 years. So earlier this year, though, he did become the winningest coach at Notre Dame with 113-40 records. So they're currently 11-1. And listen, there's still hopes for them in the college football playoff. So I think that was a lot, just where they currently stand.
That's a huge distraction to your team.
I know. And there's a lot of, the rumor mill is spilling, and there's a lot of stuff online. He had to text the team the night before because the news did spill out, and he was like, guys, I didn't mean for this to happen. I wanted to tell you.
How do you face your players?
Well, apparently the meeting that they had the next day was 2 minutes and 20 seconds long, I think. So
that's all they deserve, 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
It is. I saw the one GIF floating around from, I think it's from, what's that movie, Rudy, where they go into the office and they all just lay their Notre Dame jerseys down because they want him to play. I just saw that tomorrow morning in his office, just everyone throwing their jerseys at him. So yeah, I mean, listen, a lot of that is the text message from, or it's a Teams message, that's out. So he definitely did say that the night before, but who knows about this 2-minute meeting? It might be a rumor, it might be, but that's a lot of the chatter that's spilling out there. This, to me, I was not expecting it. Haven't heard much from the Notre Dame fans. My entire family are Notre Dame football fans. I tried to chirp at them that day. I don't think any of them were having it. Only my one brother texted me back, basically saying that Nick Saban has done this before. So I had no room to talk. So, but that's honestly too. I mean, if you're watching right now and you're a Notre Dame fan, I sincerely haven't heard much from you guys and how you're feeling about this. I am not a Notre Dame fan. I'm just a college football fan. And you see how this team is doing, and that college football playoffs hopes are still alive, and now your head coach of 12 years is just gone. So to me, I would be very taken aback.
Here's the only thing I'm going to say in regards to Brian Kelly and try to, even though I'm oh, that's such a distraction to your team, and then to have it spill out in the media, you didn't tell, yeah, it's ugly, but at the same time, I think probably what happened was an opportunity was presented and put in his lap to coach in the best conference by far in college football. SEC head coaching job that is open up for a team that a couple seasons ago won the national championship. Right. So you get that opportunity. And I know I caught the smallest, ittiest bit of a press conference with Lincoln Riley. And he was saying himself, decisions happen and need to be made so quickly in college football. It's just how it works. Brian Kelly could have been presented this opportunity. Maybe he wasn't even seeking it, and it was presented to him. Right. And it was you need to let us know right now whether you want this, or we're just going to move on to the next person. We're ready. We are ready. And either that you want to be with us or you don't.
Well, and obviously too, a lot of this stuff happens in season. These decisions are made. So yes, so you do have to make them really quick. So I mean, that never really happens in NFL unless someone's fired and someone has to take over, an interim head coach. That doesn't happen in college football. It's someone's this decision is made immediately. So they've got to be quick there. So no surprise.
But to create and they happen within days of each other. I know it shocked the college football world, and it's gonna be interesting to see how both of these guys. Again, LSU has been more currently successful. Right. Obviously, Coach O helped them win a national championship, and now he's out because they're losing football games now. Right. So it's gonna be interesting. They've both got a tall task at hand to see if they can turn these programs around.
Absolutely.
All right, let's get into our second big story of the week in the world of football. This is the NFL. We are going to give you our Week 12 NFL thoughts. Some great games that happened over the weekend. We had Chicago kicker Cairo Santos. He kicked a game-winning 28-yard field goal as time expired to beat Detroit 16-14. Detroit.
The Lions just can't
catch a break.
They really can't.
Of course, that was one of the Thanksgiving games, so it hurts even more. The New York Giants, they have now won 2 straight games, obviously going back into last season, versus the Philadelphia Eagles. And the reason that's huge is because before that, they had lost the previous 8 games to Philly. So, Joe Judge is already having a lot more success in the few games he's had against Philly than, the New York Giants coaches of the past. If he can make it 3 in a row and end the season sweeping Philly, that will be, whether we probably don't make the playoffs, that is like a small victory within the season itself.
Right.
New England, they beat Tennessee 36-13. New England has now outscored opponents 135-33 over their last 3 home games. That's very impressive. Whatever Bill Belichick's doing over there, he's got his team on a roll right now, and they're looking like a hot team heading towards the end of the season and into the playoffs.
They're the team to beat right now, I feel.
They're in place right now to win that division over Buffalo. So nobody could have ever predicted that one.
And if they keep winning, they're going to be at the top of the AFC. Like that's where they are too. It's not, they're just like sitting pretty.
They're the 2 seed right now.
Yeah. So I think something needed to happen. So if the Ravens lost to Cleveland, I think the Patriots actually would have been like at the top or tied for something like that, like of the AFC. So they're a contender, and they're a team that is fun to watch this season. Yeah. So.
Okay, so San Fran's Mr. Deebo Samuel, he became the first wide receiver in the Super Bowl era to have 2 rushing touchdowns in a game. That happened during the team's 34-26 win over Minnesota. Deebo Samuel has definitely been like one of the top fantasy football studs this season. He is a phenomenal player, very exciting to watch because he can be a wide receiver that you can literally hand the ball off to.
Right.
And he can take it to the house. So San Fran's got a weapon in him.
Absolutely.
Baltimore. This was an interesting game because you had Lamar Jackson. He became the first starting quarterback to win a game with 4 interceptions since 2013.
So bad. It's just not a stat that you want attached to your resume. It's not.
Like at the end of the day, like in his interview at the end of the game, like he was like really heated. He was like heated with himself. He was really pissed off about his performance, as he should be. He was very, very heated. And he did say at one point, like, all that matters is like, we got the win. Like, and it's true because at the end of the day, it's going to show up as a win. It's in the win column. But it's definitely an ugly loss for the Cleveland Browns. The fact that you were able to pick them off 4 times and still not win this game. What does that say about you?
It's oogly.
It's oogly. Speaking of oogly, Seattle quarterback Russell Wilson has now lost 4 straight starts for the first time in his career with a 17-15 loss to Washington. It's not going to get any easier when they play division rival San Fran this weekend, who San Fran is kind of starting to trend upwards with Seattle trending downwards. That's going to be a really interesting game. But I
just have so many questions out of
Seattle. At this point, I really do feel as though like it is official. It is a lost season for Seattle. I know technically their playoff hopes are still alive, but they're just trending so downwards. I can't even see it happening at all.
Definitely a loss this season. Like I'm convinced of that, but I think of to next year. I think of to the off season. I think of next year. Yeah. That's where my mind goes for them right now. Like what is the future of Russell Wilson? What's the future of Pete Carroll? What is the future of your big name guys like DK Metcalf, who just is clearly good, but what if he starts making some noise and chirping of like, I don't want to be on this. Like he's already come out saying like, pass me the ball. He's like a Kenny Golladay on the New York Giants. Why aren't we targeting them? Russell Wilson's come out like, you're right. We need to get DK the ball. So listen, that's where my mind goes for them right now. I'm not really thinking about the rest of the season for them. And you know what, Seattle? Prove me wrong for saying that, where I'm thinking about your off-season drama. That's where my head is at right now.
Yeah.
But so a lot going on there. And of course they had to lose to Washington. Thanks a lot. We asked you we literally just wanted you to do one thing and you couldn't do it for us. All right, it's that time of the episode. We are in week 13. How did that happen? But every week we give you our picks and we give you one lock and one upset. As always, a disclaimer. We are not giving you advice on betting. These are not based off money lines. These are not based off anything. We're just letting you know what we feel is going to be the slate for the weekend. Who's going to win? Who's going to lose? And then obviously just having some fun and throwing in a lock and an upset for you. I will admit it was hard for me to pick an upset this week, but I had to pick one. So,
but I was going to say, I do feel like there were a lot of lock options. So last week there was like every game was like a 50-50 game. This week I felt like, okay, we've got some like clear cut here.
Yeah. So why don't you go ahead and get us started?
Sure.
And I'll follow along as much as I can.
In week 13, I am going with Dallas, Miami, the Colts, Minnesota, Philly, Arizona, the Bengals, the Buccaneers, the Rams, the Raiders, the Steelers, the 49ers, Chiefs, and Buffalo. My lock is the Rams over the Jacksonville Jaguars, and my upset is in between. It's a division rivalry. I'm going with the Pittsburgh Steelers over the Baltimore Ravens.
All right. I think we had 4 or 5 different.
Okay.
I think 4.
Oh, and on the bye this week, so everybody knows, like I said, we've got 4 teams: the Cleveland Browns, Tennessee Titans, Green Bay Packers, and Carolina Panthers.
Cool. All right. So this week I am going with Dallas, Tampa Bay, Arizona, Cincinnati, the Detroit Lions, the New York Giants, Philadelphia, the Colts, the Raiders, the Rams, Baltimore, the 49ers, Kansas City, and the New England Patriots. My lock is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers over the Atlanta Falcons. And my upset is the Detroit Lions over the Minnesota Vikings. So listen, Detroit, I already picked you once this season to upset someone. So you better come out for me this time. I think it was Thanksgiving I picked them to win. So you better come out.
I had them doing it over Philly, which they did not do. They've been in funny enough, they've been in like every game they've played, minus that Philly game. They got stomped out, which was funny, but also not funny. But we had 4 games different. Okay. So we were pretty similar. And 2 of our differences were like our upset picks. So.
Right. All right.
Going to be fun. Week 13. I can't even believe it. But
it's here.
It's here. But let's get into the big stories of the week in the world of housewives. We have like one big one. It's just like jam-packed. We're going to do a legal quick hot topics in the world.
Oh boy. Call your lawyers. Call your lawyers.
Yeah. So the first one, certainly the most fascinating, really like going on right now. Hot news. Jen Shah's assistant, Stuart Smith, he made a court appearance recently. I think it was last week, where he changed his original not guilty plea to a guilty plea, and the 3 charges that have been brought against him for his role in the telemarketing scheme.
Because you're guilty.
Targeted hundreds of elderly people nationwide. Obviously, we all know Stu. He's very much so on the show. Jen's assistant, but also like her best friend. I do have a quote from him, and this is, from court, saying, I knowingly and intentionally discussed and engaged with other individuals to develop a plan or operation to obtain money by false representation by offering and inducing individuals, many of whom were over 50 years of age or older, to provide money to entities that I and others were involved with. I became aware that these telemarketing companies were misleading customers of these entities by selling individuals, many of them who were older than 50 years of age, selling them information that purported to be services to enhance their business opportunities. So Jen continues to like hardcore plead her innocence, that she had no involvement in this. When
like now you're assistant, you're guilty. You're guilty.
Her right-hand man, and like the, coming out and changing his to a guilty plea and saying, yes, I was involved with it. And in that quote, he's saying involved with others. Like, Yeah. Is Jen Shaw one of those others? Because I believe
He's
so.
probably sick of her shit. Like, we've seen already on this season, like, she yells in his face and, like, gets mad. Like, well, yeah, we're all sick of your shit. Like, her glam squad left her, like, or her whatever Shaw squad left her. Like, he was probably sick of it too. And he's like, you know what? Like, they're going to find out. That's it. I'm taking her down with me.
Bitch.
We're going down. So,
he will be sentenced on March 3rd. So, December, January, 3 months from now. That's obviously going to be a huge deal and something we're going to like really pay attention to and be ready to like break anything we find out, because he is facing a max combined sentence of 70 years in prison.
Christ, that is
so
this
is
much.
Serious. This is really, really serious. So we'll see what happens with him. We'll see what happens with Jen. March 3rd. Mark your calendars, everybody.
March. I'm gonna put her down right now. Take vacation, people. It's gonna be a whole day.
Joe Giudice is fighting his deportation case again with a new lawyer. Joe was deported. Joe was deported after completing his 3-year prison sentence for fraud. Most of us know that. I do have a quote from him. He said, "I would like to be able to see my children again in our home state, be a part of their lives, be physically present when they need me, and watch them grow up. I yearn to hold my grandmother in my arms again before the time comes in which she is no longer on this earth. I want to be with my mother and my family and to be in the place I have called home since I was a year old." So yeah, that is maybe the part that people like forget from time to time, is that Joe basically has always been like an American citizen.
Right.
He's lived here, like he said, his whole entire life. And so basically his new lawyer, she's not going to be like fighting that, you know, he wasn't guilty of these things and all that. It's basically the lawyer is going to be filing a waiver of inadmissibility, which is basically like, in non-lawyer terms, a kind of like forgiveness from the U.S. government. Like, I understood what I did my time.
Right.
So I'm being a contributing member of society, and like, this is what's going on. And I hope you can find it in your hearts to see the specific scenario I'm in, and that my children are involved with this and they're hurting from it and I'm hurting. And can we kind of, you know, get past this and I can come live in the United States again.
Yeah. I mean, listen, you know, he obviously went to jail. I just, you know, we don't know like all the intricacies of the actual like lawsuits and everything like that. So listen, if at the end of the day, like deportation was a part of his punishment, like there's nothing really, that's it. Like that's the law, and it's hard. And I feel bad when, you know, you read statements that, you know, he wants to see his grandma again. He wants to see his mom, his kids, you know, his kids are grown. They've grown up with him barely even there. And it's crazy. It's like, I feel it, but it's hard to argue against like what, you know, I don't know.
It's very hard. His last deportation appeal was in April 2019. It was denied. I mean, I applaud, like, I think I totally get why he's still fighting it, of course. It makes complete and utter sense to me. And again, this is going to be another one that will follow. And I kind of hope that they allow him back, just because I feel as though, like, yes, he deserved to be punished. Teresa deserved to be punished. They went to jail, this, that, everything. But his kids are being severely, severely punished.
Right.
And that's the worst part of it all. So I think, you know, obviously that's where they're trying to go with that, of like asking for forgiveness and understanding the specific situation that they're in.
Right.
Bethany, oh my God, I can't wait till this is all over for her. Nearly 9 years after calling it quits and almost a year after finalizing their divorce, her and her ex, Jason, are still battling it out in court. The divorce is done, thank God. That's number one.
Right.
But they will appear before a family court judge on December 8th, which is just next week, for a hearing involving the custody of their daughter, Bryn. The couple was granted joint custody in 2014. But Bethany went back to the court 3 years ago to try and win sole custody, which is like, I feel like that's got to be hard, because
it's got to be, yeah.
Unless the father or the mother, if it's a different scenario, is really like a bad
Right.
person, not capable of being like a good parent.
It's hard to get that.
It's
Yeah.
I would think it would be extremely hard to win sole custody. I'm not sure, like, I get that he's like a crappy guy, but like,
Well, that's what I was gonna say. We all know and believe he's a
for her to fight for sole custody.
Yeah, like
Did
we
you
all
think
know
that's
he's
the
a
best for her daughter to like
yeah.
not be with her father. Is like, damn, like, okay.
Yeah,
So
like he's a
that's a big deal.
scumbag, but that doesn't
That's a
really
very
hold
big deal.
up. That doesn't hold up in a court of law. Like, oh, we
Right.
think he's a
Right.
scumbag. Like we know he is, but
Right.
you're right. Unless
You
he's
have to
not
be
like
a danger to your child or
yeah.
like a drug addict, like something.
And
Like
in
you
all
can't just be like,
honesty,
this guy's an asshole.
he probably isn't. He isn't a danger to her. And that's, it sucks because you want her to just be with Bethany because clearly, all the stuff that happened. But he, at the end of the day, isn't probably a danger to her. So it's going to be hard to fight this one.
Right. Absolutely. So we're going to keep you posted on all three things. Very juicy legal stuff going on in the world of housewives. As always, it feels like. But I feel like that just comes with the territory. Like every franchise has to have at least one housewife that's going through legal troubles, and of course a lot of them go through money problems and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
we're always keeping you posted.
That's what we're here for, people. We're also here to play some fun games, and we're playing one of the OGs tonight. We are playing one of our favorites, Buy or Sell, and this week's edition of Buy or Sell is Week 13 predictions. Yes. So we are looking at all Week 13 matchups within the NFL this coming week, and we're going to answer one buy or sell statement for each game. So let me go ahead and pull these up, and we will just go scenario by scenario.
Let me just tell you, this game took me a very long time because as the stat queen, I pulled up all the receipts on these ones.
Good for you. And I will let you be the stat queen and pull up the receipts because there were so many that I was looking at. It was almost like taking a multiple choice quiz where you like pick your answer and then like you move on and you're like, wait, you know what? I'm going to come back and erase it. It was like I was giving myself like that like test taking anxiety again. I was like, Caitlin, just pick an answer. Like I couldn't. So like I will let you spew the stats because the audience needs to hear it. But I had to just pick and choose on some of these because we're definitely a little hard. So let's go with the first one. And I did look at stats on this one, but we have Dallas at New Orleans. So buy or sell, Katie. Dallas will put up at least 30 points on New Orleans.
I'm buying this one. So New Orleans has only given up 30 plus points twice all season long, but those two games were their previous two games. So, they're having a tough time with hot offenses. Dallas is a hot offense. I'm buying this one.
I'm buying it as well. And I really looked at, the scores that Dallas was putting up over the course of the season. Maybe you'll look at a couple of their past couple of games. It's been like 16 to 20 points here and there, but some of their best games, they put up 40 plus points.
Yeah, I think on the year they're averaging like 25 points per game, which is very, very high. So
right. So I think definitely it's something that will happen this weekend. Yeah. Kills me to say, but New Orleans just put up over 30.
It'll be a shootout. You don't know.
That's fine. Number 2, we're going to our neck of the woods with the New York Giants at the Miami Dolphins. Mike Glennon will have at least 250 passing yards for New York if he is the starter.
Right. I'm going to sell this one. Miami allows an average of 262 passing yards per game. However, you do have Saquon Barkley back. So with DJ out and having Saquon, I do think they'll try to use the run game more. And so I just don't see Mike Glennon like attempting like 30 plus passes in the game. And I just don't think he's going to get to that number. So I'm selling it.
So I'm buying it for the complete opposite reason. Why not try to? No, but why not? The run game does suck. Even though I do like Booker a lot, he fits better with us. But why not? You have someone new calling the offensive play calls. You technically have if Glennon's playing, he's not technically new. He's played a couple of things for us. But coming in and starting an actual game for us, why not try to take some chances here and see what we can do? So for every reason that you said, I'm actually thinking the complete opposite, that they might try to just throw it and see how far they can get down the field as quickly as they can. So,
okay. All right.
All right, Indianapolis at Houston. Indianapolis running back Jonathan Taylor will have 3+ touchdowns.
So this stat is interesting, but I'm going to sell it because he's actually only done it once this season so far, which I thought was a surprising stat because it feels like he's just, and he is killing it. He's absolutely killing it. But I thought he had done it in a couple more games. Only done it once, which was the game he had like 5 touchdowns. But I'm going to sell it. It's a hard thing to do for anybody.
And I'm buying it because I think he can do it again. And if you're going to do it again, it's going to be against Houston. So that's why I'm buying it. Because it's definitely for him. I think he can achieve it by the end of the season again. And if he's going to, it'll be this weekend.
Okay, fair enough.
All right, Minnesota at Detroit. Minnesota running back Dalvin Cook will have 100+ rushing yards.
I'm buying this. Detroit has the 4th worst run defense in the league. There's no reason Dalvin Cook should not be able to run all over them.
Well, I'm selling it because Dalvin Cook does have that shoulder injury. Luckily, he did not tear his rotator cuff. They did think that. So fortunately for Minnesota, it is not a tear. He is doing certain things this week. He didn't practice today, but no one practices on Wednesdays, what I've come to learn in the NFL. Literally,
no one. Whole fantasy squad. It's like everybody's questionable.
Everyone's not playing, did not practice. Yeah. So no one practiced on Wednesday, but they are pretty confident that I think he will play Sunday. But to me, a shoulder injury with a running back, I get a little concerned. So I just don't think, and again, listen, I know Detroit's defense is not the greatest. They're also my upset. So I do need to throw some there.
We have yet to agree. So let's go. Where are we going to match up?
All righty. Philadelphia at the New York Jets. Philadelphia quarterback Jalen Hurts will be the leading rusher of the game.
There's no real like power. Like Mike Carter's been out for the Jets. Even when he's in, like he's not a true like RB1. So take out the Jets out of the equation. And I'm buying this one. So fun fact, he's led his team in rushing 6 different times this season. So he is so capable of doing it. He can totally do it against the New York Jets. I'm buying this one.
I'm going to sell it. And I don't think someone on the Jets is going to be it. I think it's going to be Sanders or someone else. Because if, right before the New York game, the Giants game, Philly was really upping their run game. They were, doing better things. The Giants just happened to stomp them out, and Jalen didn't do anything. He didn't help them either. So I don't see it coming from him. I do see it coming from someone else in Philly, though, because I don't think the Jets are going to do it.
Okay. Yeah, it's going to come from the Philly side.
Right. Yeah. Arizona at Chicago. Arizona running back James Conner will have 100+ yards of total offense.
I want to buy this so badly. He is on my fantasy team, but I'm going to sell it because Chicago has had quietly a decent defense this year. So I think it's going to be a little challenging. Plus, you also have to factor in that Arizona has a ton of other weapons. It's not just the James Conner show. So that factored in with the fact that Chicago's defense is not too bad. I'm going to sell it.
I'm going to buy it. While it isn't the James,
come on.
I know. While it isn't the James Conner show, I think Arizona has actually been doing a lot better when they do focus on him and they do give him that opportunity to come out and bust through defense. So I definitely want to buy this one.
Okay, I hope you're right.
Maybe we'll agree on this one. Okay. Los Angeles Chargers at the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow will have more passing yards and passing touchdowns over the Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert.
Selling it.
No!
God damn it! Come on!
I'm I'm high on the Bengals and Joe Burrow. I am.
So am I. But this is where this stat is a big difference, okay? So over the last 4 games of the season, Joe Burrow is averaging 219 passing yards. Herbert is averaging 309. That's almost 100 more. And Herbert is averaging 2 touchdowns a game where Burrow is averaging just 1.
But to hear those stats between the two of them, I feel like week after week, Joe Burrow looks better than Justin Herbert. So it's
because
like
the team is looking better than the
You're
Chargers
right.
now.
Yeah.
But when you break, and I thought it was going to be closer as well because, like, yes, like I'm high on Cincinnati right now and Joe Burrow, and obviously we said the Chargers are trending downwards. But when you pull up the stats, like it's a big difference. So I had to sell it.
I'm gonna buy it. I don't know. This is one of those ones where it could go. I don't know. So I'm going Joe Burrow.
Oh my God, this is so funny.
It is. Well, we got a couple more, so let's go.
Okay.
Tampa Bay and Atlanta. So Tampa Bay's quarterback Tom Brady. Oh, excuse me. Ignore that. Quarterback. So both quarterbacks, Tom Brady and Matt Ryan, will combine for 3+ interceptions.
Let's get ugly. Let's get weird. I'm going to buy it.
Me too. They both love to throw interceptions. So I'm 100% buying this.
Both of these guys are kind of high up on the interception list right now. So I think it could happen.
Oh, they love to throw the interceptions. I love it. Yeah. So I can see this is probably I was the most confident in this one on the list, picking by 100%. All right, we have Jacksonville at the Los Angeles Rams. So Odell Beckham Jr. will be the leading receiver for the Rams.
Yeah, I think people were like wondering, people who have him in fantasy, like, should I start him? Should I sit him? Like, he's with a new team. He really hasn't done much this season in general, like when he's been healthy. But he had a huge week last week. So that makes you question things a little bit. I'm still going to sell it. You still got Cooper Kupp on that team. So I'm selling.
You do. We're agreeing once again. I can't, people have to kind of like pull themselves back on something like this and don't just, he just got there. Of course he had a good game. There's still talent left in Odell. He's going to spark here and there, but let's not think that this is the end all be all for Los Angeles.
Right.
All right, we have the Washington football team at the Las Vegas Raiders. So Washington's quarterback, Taylor Heineke, will have more passing yards than Vegas's quarterback, Derek Carr.
Selling it. Heineke has only gone for over 300 yards in one game this season. Derek Carr has done it 6 times. If he's not the passing yards leader right now, I think he's top 3. So I feel like this one's not close. I'm selling it. Derek Carr is going to have more yards.
Yeah. I ended up buying this one. I know it pains me how like Washington's just winning these games.
They've been quietly winning games.
And I think Heineke's really good. For them, like I think they need to like look at him long term. And I think with the Raiders, I did pick them to win this game. Ever since the loss to the Giants, I've really have been just kind of shooing them away from like any type of contention, to be honest. And I think that Derek Carr is a huge role in that. And while he like because they had a hot start, so I think that's why his average numbers are definitely higher. But I don't know. So I think I'm more looking at the most recent, turn of events with both teams. So,
okay.
All right. We have Baltimore at Pittsburgh, a big division game here. Baltimore's defense will sack Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Ben Roethlisberger 4+ times.
I do have Pittsburgh as my upset, but I am going to buy this. Big Ben, he's one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the league right now. I'm buying it as well. So we agree again. There we go.
Listen, the Ravens defense won the game for them last week. And even though Cleveland came out strong defensively, the Ravens defense actually, definitely won that for them. They're going to come off a high from there into a division game. The Steelers, to me, are not. I don't know what's going on out in Pittsburgh, but I think they can definitely, again, like you had said, one of the most sacked quarterbacks, they can take him down.
Yep.
So the 49ers at the Seattle Seahawks, the game will be decided by 3 or less points.
100% buying this because fun fact, this was
Oh.
almost my upset pick. I almost took Seattle as my upset. I think this is going to be a very close game. The teams in this division, especially these two teams, always play each other really close. I'm buying this.
I'm selling it, and I know it is a big division game, and I know they do play each other well. I just don't know what's going on in Seattle, and I really don't see them holding on and winning or losing by such a short.
I think one of the reasons why it was almost my upset pick, like, doesn't have to do with either team and more so has to do with like Russell Wilson and that stat that we said earlier in the show that he's never lost 4 straight in his career. And so I'm like, oh my God, does he really lose 5 straight? Like, is that actually going to happen? And it was more so me thinking about that.
Right. Hey, it definitely could. And we definitely could happen.
San Fran, I think, is another one team. Like right now, we're like at this point in the season where teams are trending upwards and other teams are trending downwards. And I do feel like Seattle is going down. And I do think San Fran is quietly going up.
I agree. So, yep, 100% agree. All right. Denver at Kansas City. Kansas City's wide receiver Tyreek Hill will have under 65 receiving yards.
So I found an interesting stat on this one. I am going to buy it. I wouldn't have guessed this, but it's already happened 5 times this season where he's had under 65 yards receiving. And Denver does have a pretty good defense.
They do.
So I think they're gonna keep him in check. I think he'll be under 65.
Yeah, well, it has happened this season. Every time I see Tyreek Hill, he's an open target for Patrick Mahomes constantly. So I just don't know if I can believe it. As again, I think Kansas City's starting to get out of their little bit of a funk that they had. So I'm going to sell this one.
Okay. All right.
All right. And our last one for the episode, New England Patriots at the Buffalo Bills. Quarterbacks Mac Jones and Josh Allen will combine for 6 passing touchdowns.
I am selling this one. So I had to pull up both guys and look at their game logs, like every game, like how many touchdowns are they throwing. And although Mac Jones is having a great rookie season and he's definitely throwing touchdowns, he's usually only throwing like 1 or 2 a game. Whereas so I think Josh Allen could like keep up his end of the bargain and potentially throw like 3, but then you need 3 from Mac Jones. And he's really not having 3 touchdown games. Yeah. So this game is interesting because I think it's either going to be a complete and utter shootout or it's going to be like 9-6. I don't think it's going to be any in between. It's either going to be a defensive battle or an all-out shootout.
So I am buying it because I do think it's going to be a shootout, and I think they'll equally split with 3-3 here. So, or if you want to go a little bit higher, I still think it'll be very equal amongst the 2 of them. So,
all right.
Oh yeah.
Great game, a lot of fun. Point in the night where we get it off our chest. Positive, negative, football, housewives, life, wine, holidays. No more spooky season. No more.
Oh no.
Season. We are now on to Christmas season, ladies and gentlemen.
Christmas season.
Hanukkah season. Happy Hanukkah.
I was gonna say happy Hanukkah.
But yeah, why don't you kick us off and get it off your chest?
Absolutely. Well, mine is 1,001% positive. I just want to give the biggest thank you to all of my family, all of my friends, especially Katie, everyone who made my birthday the best birthday ever. So on Monday, this past Monday, I turned the big 30. It still like doesn't roll off the tongue. Like I'm still not telling myself that I'm 30. Like, I don't think I am. I'm just convinced that I'm not. But yes, I turned 30 on Monday, the weekend prior. So on Saturday, my parents threw me a 30th birthday. It was outdoors, so we were a little cold, but that didn't stop us from having fun. It was like
being at a tailgate.
Was. Well, that was the theme. The theme was a football tailgate. So props to my parents for really making that tailgate vibe work. Yeah. So a lot of great food, games, drinks, everything. I had a great time bringing in my 30th birthday. So it was truly great. And then just it's interesting. You don't really think that like when you get older, like you'll get like a bunch of like presents at your party, but I got a great gift. So one of them being what I'm wearing right now. Katie and her husband went all out for me and got me the best gifts ever. So this being one of them, I got a Tua Tagovailoa jersey from them. Obviously, you guys know I have one hanging up behind me. You see it week after week, but now I have one to wear and to cherish and to have on me. So I'm obsessed with it. It was an Alabama Giants themed birthday for sure. I've got a lovely Alabama wine glass. I am going to an Alabama football game, people. That's something that's been on my bucket list for my entire life. So that's something that's happening October 2022. Wild and crazy, but it was a great, so for a tailgate themed party, I just got a ton of amazing Bama Giants gear. One of the other things Katie got me too was a koozie with our logo on it, which I've been trying to find and make for us for so long. And I've been having such a hard time with it. So I'm so happy that I have one now. Yes. So I'm going to have to buy a ton for the rest of our shows for the year. I'm going to have to buy a bunch of like White Claws so I can drink out of it so I can market us on the show. But I honestly just loved everything and everything else that I got from my family and my friends. Like everything was so heartfelt and it just shows that, people know me, what I like. And I just felt so loved for like 3 days straight. And it was the best feeling ever. I'm still clearly so high on cloud 9 from everything. So as much as it hurts to say that I'm 30, I truly had the best time with my family and friends bringing in 30. So, and also too, all of our followers and our fans, I got a ton of shout outs from all of you guys saying happy birthday to me. So thank you guys so much. I really appreciate that. But yes, thanks to everyone, especially you, Katie. You made my birthday truly incredible. So I'm so grateful and so thankful for that.
I had a blast. It was like a birthday for me because like I had so much fun. It was really awesome. I had a great time. And my advice to you, as somebody who's been in their 30s for 2 years now, always have stashed away in a cabinet Advil, Tylenol, Drip Drop. We like our wine, girls. So you got to be prepared for these hangovers in your 30s because they're for real.
Well, the good thing is that I've been an old lady my whole entire life. So the Advil and everything in this closet back here, I have heating pads. I have all this stuff because I am a broken individual, like injury wise, I'm in pain every day. And then I've been getting the worst hangover since I've started drinking alcohol. So I think they are worse, but it's not fortunate, but fortunately I've been suffering from massive hangovers since I'm 19 years old. So if anyone listening has like remedies for hangovers, please let me know because I can have this glass of wine and I'll wake up tomorrow feeling like God.
So here's my advice because I find that I can't avoid hangovers as well. I find it like instead of going out on a Saturday now, I prefer to go out on Fridays because then you allow yourself 2 full days after.
To like
recover. You can't go out on a Saturday, have only Sunday, and then you got to go to work on Monday. You're still like,
I know. So, well, that's why this weekend was definitely hard because I went hard on Saturday, clearly. I drank wine during the Giants game on Sunday because I need to. They give me so much anxiety. And then Monday I took off with my boyfriend and we had our own little fun day. We had we were drinking mimosas. So I will say yesterday, and I'm still a little tired today, but yesterday I was struggling a little bit.
It takes a little bit longer to recover and reboot. So just keep that in mind.
Maybe it'll get better with old age. I'm just waiting for the one day that I wake up without a hangover. So.
Would love it. I will keep my get it off my chest super short. We had just recently found out that I think it's on December 8th, Michael Strahan is going to be going to space.
No.
And Caitlin and I heard this and we both equally freaked out. And
you told me and I was like, what the fuck?
And when I heard, I like immediately like screamed no, like I can't deal with it. So I just want to say that like I would love to start a petition to have it not happen. Mm-hmm. God forbid anything were to happen to him. He's like a national treasure to me, so I can't have that go on. I will say that after I heard the news, I did see him. He was on Jimmy Fallon. the other night, and they were talking more about it, and he was making me feel a little bit better because he was talking about like how safe it is and like how
To
like,
go to space?
but I'm like,
Is that safe?
girl, I can't have this happen, okay?
Could you imagine? I won't even get on an airplane.
Like,
And
listen, if we want to send like Deshaun Jackson, we can, like, but
Yeah,
not Michael Strahan.
that's fine. Like, aviation is so safe. Like, it is more safe to fly in an airplane than drive in a car. And I refuse to get in an airplane. And space, you're going to try to convince me that space is safe? I don't think so. No, you've got another thing coming to you. You're trying to convince me that space is safe.
Well, we wish him like all the best, and my God, like, please don't let anything happen to you. Like, we love
There
you.
needs to be like a tracker on him. Like, we need to be able to monitor the entire takeoff, the space. Like, I need to see his face. Like, FaceTiming us saying, okay, I'm okay. I'm okay the whole time.
I agree with that. That's a good suggestion.
He needs a tracker
to get it off our chest is, Michael, we don't want you to go, but if you have to go, we're going to be like, you know, a little Italian mother where you got to text me every 2 seconds.
I need to know.
And you're okay. Like, you need to do that. So
I need to know. But he's not going to back down, unfortunately. I don't think the petition's going to work because Jeff Bezos asked him personally. So, like, I'm sorry, buddy. Like, whatever. Cool. Whatever. But, oh, my God. Well, with that being said, I guess, you know, what was it? December 8th? We have to keep a lookout. We're only 9 days away from takeoff. Or excuse me, 7 days away from
1 week.
Oh, 6 days. I can't count. Oh my God. I literally like 9 days, 6 days. I cannot count for the life of me. But there are other things coming up in the meantime before Michael Strahan gets off into space. One thing in particular, if you are listening to us live right now, I can't guarantee if you catch us on demand, this will probably be late news, but tonight, December 1st is the season 16 premiere of Real Housewives of Orange County. Comes on at 9 p.m. Eastern. As you know, Heather Dubrow is back. So I'm giving it another chance this season. So I will circle back with the team next episode and I will let you know. Real Housewives of Atlanta is on Sundays at 8 p.m. Real Housewives of Salt Lake City is still going on. They did have a hiatus last week, but they are back this week at 9 p.m. Eastern. NFL Week 13, Thursday Night Football. Tomorrow night is the Dallas Cowboys at the New Orleans Saints. Sunday Night Football, you have the Denver Broncos at the Kansas City Chiefs. And then to wrap up the week, we have Monday Night Football, the New England Patriots at the Buffalo Bills. College football is big this week. We have a lot of championship games, so be prepared. You have number 10 Oregon versus number 17 Utah. This is on Friday at 8 p.m., so please mark your calendars on that. It's not a Saturday game. You have number 5 Oklahoma State versus number 9 Baylor. Number 1 Georgia takes on number 3 Alabama at 4 p.m. on Saturday, people. I'm a little concerned as to why the game's not at night, but whatever. And then you have the number 4 Cincinnati versus number 21 Houston, number 2 Michigan versus number 13 Iowa, and number 15 Pittsburgh versus Wake Forest. There are other games, but these are our ranked games that we are telling you about. Obviously, the most important game on the list is Alabama versus Georgia. I am nervous, but we're trying to figure out what to do to watch the game, but I will be clearly wearing the brand new jersey that I have. Kudos to Katie for that. So I'm a little nervous, but
I hope it brings you good luck.
It better. And if it doesn't, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with it if it doesn't.
Oh my God.
But yes, that is it for the episode tonight. Thank you all so much for tuning in another week, another episode of the Real Football Fans of New Jersey. We appreciate it. As always, go to anywhere where you listen to podcasts, listen and subscribe. We're also on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Follow us for live shows every week. We also just put out some really good content on a daily basis. So head over there and follow us. But yeah, another episode in the books, and we appreciate you guys as always.
Good night. See you next week.
Goodbye. Goodbye.